may misa. Yeah. La. Stop up. Yes, all that. Walang karakwa. Hi kita be. Henry Ford. Kilik-kilik ko yan kuya. Ay! Right? Yeah. Look at the skin. Look at they're looking at it. Huh? Wait eh. Wait, be, kaya gakuha pa siya ng kuan. Kariton. Oo, damo eh. Yari kami sa Henry Ford. Greenfield Village. Factory ini ng kuan. Ford cars. Ay, pastilan. Oo, damo yung tao, pero wala na yung mga mask na katawan ka kung magsupot ka. Wait, Andre. Train. Ay, mana, biya na kita ng train. Tao pa imo.
I'll make an obby for you.
Hey. Ay, pala. Nasa kuan kuya, dugom lagi kuya. Dugom ba? Dugom lagi.
We have our Torch Lake coal-fired steam locomotive pulling the train, and I'm Mike, your conductor. Now, for the safety of our younger riders, we ask that the adults with them place themselves on the outside of the road. If that's not practical, please make sure they're held or easily within your reach. And please stay seated while the train's in motion. Keep those arms and legs, and especially your heads inside the rail car at all times. Please refrain from smoking, eating, or drinking anything but water aboard the Greenfield Village Railroad. The sights and sounds of nearly 300 years of American innovation on display. I'd like to remind you, Greenfield Village is divided into 7 districts. Our first is Henry's Model T, where you can get a ride on a genuine Ford Model T car over at the loading dock right at the corner of State Street and Bagley, right here in Henry's Model T district. And that brings us to the birthplace of Henry Ford. On your left, it's the Ford Farm, built here in Dearborn, Michigan in 1861. Henry was born in that white farmhouse in July of 1863 and lived there with his parents and 5 brothers and sisters. All the way to your left, the red building, is the William Ford Barn. It's where we take care of all the horses we use every day here at the village. Now up next, it's our Main Street district. Here you'll find the Wright Brothers home and the Wright Cycle Shop, the birthplace of aviation. Right across the street, find out about the 57 varieties at the Heinz home where they first modeled horseradish. And take a spin on our 1913 Herschel Spillman Carousel. And don't forget, smack dab in the middle of Main Street, it's the center of the known universe. That's right, I'm talking about the frozen custard stand. It's like the best ice cream ever. And we're now entering our Edison at Work district, and just beyond the picket fence is Thomas Edison's Menlo Park complex, where Edison and his staff of scientists and engineers developed the very first practical incandescent light bulb. Menlo Park complex is America's first research and development lab, responsible for such innovations as the microphone, the phonograph, and over 800 other patents. Also coming up on your left, the mustard yellow building is the Sarah Jordan boarding house where Edison's staff used to live. It's the first residential structure in the U.S. to be wired up for electric light. The gateway to our Porches and Parlors district, that's the Acme Covered Bridge from 1832 aside only. So please stay seated, everybody, till you hear that whistle blow.
We're gonna drop off here, maybe? No? No.
You want to write it all the way?
Still moving, everybody.
Yeah, because
Wait
that's
for the
where
whistle
yours
now.
My card is.
You have to go about this.
We got all day to see all this.
And there's the whistle. It's safe now to exit on the left side only. If you're leaving us here, look around you. And if any use items you might be left behind. Now, we're only going to be here for about 4 minutes. Then we'll move out to Railroad Junction and Smith's Creek Station, who have lavish parties in that plantation house. Now, compare that to the small red house next door. That's the Thomas Plimpton home. Thomas was an indentured servant. He lived in that small one-room house with his wife and 7 children. And at the end of the road, on the other side of our Ferris windmill, that's the Daggett Farm, a living history farm from 1754 in Andover, Connecticut. Stop in and see how Samuel Daggett and the family lived and worked on the farm prior to the American Revolution. And be sure to check out their kitchen garden in the back, where they grew fruits and vegetables and herbs for medicinal purposes.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's smart. And there's
And we're now passing the latest addition to Greenfield Village. That's our brand new horse paddock down here at Hawthorne Glade. When the horses need a day off, this is where we bring them. And it looks like today they're being visited by our flock of wild turkeys. The locomotive at the head of our train today is the Torch Lake. It's a coal-fired steam engine built way back in 1873 at the Mason Works in Taunton, Massachusetts. The Torch Lake is a Mason bogie, and at 148 years old, it's the oldest regularly operated steam locomotive in the country. And just like Thomas, it's a tank engine. That's right, it carries its own coal and water supply and doesn't require a separate tender. The Torch Lake weighs in at 35 tons. So now, folks, let's take a moment to sit back and relax and enjoy the sights and sounds of railroading as it was in the late 1800s and early 1900s.
Oh, it's so nice video.
It's hurt. You want glasses?
I have a power bank.
I don't know. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't have. Yeah, it's
It's from the good video.
it's from Greenfield. Yeah. You okay? We should. Allah.
What you're seeing here is the blowdown, where we're blowing out any additional scalar sediment that's building up in the boiler.
Does it? Is that water?
And we're now entering Oxbow Island. The Oxbow is an 11-acre wetland restoration project, one of the largest in southeastern Michigan. Hundreds of trees have been planted and the waterways cleaned and cleared. And wildlife has returned with a herd of deer and many smaller animals as well, like rabbits, squirrels, and turtles. Birds too, like green and blue heron, egrets, and Canada geese. Even a big flock of wild turkeys. You saw a bunch of them back at the horse pad.
Dashes.
It's okay, it washes out.
Uh-huh. That's alright.
Just good.
Part of the experience. That's why we sit.
That's why they're burnt.
And that brings us to Walnut Grove on the backside of our porches and parlors district.
That's so nice.
It's where we hold many of our special events throughout the year. And this weekend, Walnut Grove comes alive with a crack in the back and the roar of the crowd as old-time historic baseball returns to Greenfield Village. All summer long on Saturday and Sunday, our own Nationals and La-Di-Das will take on other historic baseball teams, playing under rules written back in 1867, which include no spitting, no cursing, and no gloves. Now up next is the Henry Ford Academy. Henry Ford Academy is a charter school here in Wayne County. Students attend for free but are chosen by lottery. This portion of the campus houses the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. 9th graders attend class at the Henry Ford Museum. Just up ahead, 3 attached rail cars. They serve as classrooms for the senior class. Imagine that, going to class in a rail car.
Raining. Huh? Raining. It rains. Oh. It's rain or it's just the... Are you scared? Ice cream. Yeah, you can stay in there, Kuya.
That waterway on your left is the Swanee Lagoon. It's a rainwater catch basin. We use it for flood control here at the village. More importantly, though, it's the home to Godzilla, one of the biggest turtles you'll ever see. Now, that old boy's been swimming in these waters since 1929. Also on your left at the top of the hill, a popular wedding spot. That's the Martha Mary Chapel, named after Henry Ford's mother and mother-in-law, Martha and Mary, of course. Also on your left, 2 of our restaurants. The Green Building is the Taste of History. This year featuring a special menu based on recipes from some of our historic sites, like the Daggett Farm, the Firestone Farm, and the Burbank House. Right next door, the White Building, is the Eagle Tavern.
I like this
Built in
drink.
1832 in Clinton, Michigan, they offer up an authentic 1850s-style dining experience, featuring locally sourced and seasonal favorites, served under candlelight. by waiters and waitresses in period clothing. And that brings us to our next stop of the day, and that's Smith's Creek Station. From here you have full access to Railroad Junction, Main Street, and Liberty Craft Works. You're leaving us here. Please stay seated until the train comes to a complete stop, and I give you the go-ahead to exit on the left side only. Smith's Creek Station is your stop for Main Street and the Carousel, as well as Railroad Junction and the Roundhouse. And we're only a few short steps away from Liberty Craft Works and Henry's Model T. So again, please stay seated until the train comes to a complete stop. The engineer will give you that blast of the whistle, and that means the air brake is set. And then I'll give you the go-ahead to exit on the left side only. So please stay seated, everybody, till you hear the whistle blow.
You know when the workers look at us and go, "You're still on this?"
You want to stay? Oh, here we go with him.
Okay, don't overshoot today. Oh, good job.
And there's the whistle. It's safe now to exit on the left side only. You're leaving us here, look around you, gather up any loose items you might have left behind. We're only going to be here for about 4 minutes. Then we're going to move out to the front gate and Firestone Station.
Have fun, bud.
Get off of my behind.
So we can just ride and then go back to the where we go. Okay.
Yeah. We'll have to follow the map.
Where's the map?
We'll lose the map.
Here. Here's the map. Why? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We can sit behind. Andre. Hey guys. Get away.
Can I do picture?
No.
It's gonna be funny.
No.
They will like it.
No.
For clown.
No.
Okay, can I hold it?
Oh no.
Yeah, please.
I hold it. Okay. I hold it.
I'll turn it off
Here
first.
is the new home to the vegetable building from the Detroit Central Market. Coming soon to Greenfield Village. And that brings us to the heart of our Railroad Junction district, just up ahead, our Detroit, Toledo, and Milwaukee Roundhouse, where we repair and maintain our 3 coal-fired steam locomotives. Originally built in 1884 in Marshall, Michigan, we've recreated the building here at Greenfield Village in the year 2000, using elements from the original building. On the other side of the roundhouse is our Liberty Craft Works district, where artisans and craftsmen create beautiful objects in glass and pottery, tin and weaving. There's a print shop and a sawmill as well. And don't miss the Davidson Gersten Glass Gallery, with a spectacular collection of industrial glass.
Like I had.
And we're now entering our working farms district, and just beyond the Red Cider Mill is the Firestone Farm, the birthplace of Harvey Firestone. Henry Ford's great friend and the founder of the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company in Akron, Ohio. Firestone Farm is a living history farm. The farmhouse built in 1828 in Columbiana County, Ohio. And be sure to stop by the barn today and check out the new arrivals. Farm is a real operating farm. Looking off to your right, you'll see our herd of merino sheep. You know, people often ask me how many sheep are in that herd, and I gotta tell you, I don't really know. Every time I try to count them, I fall asleep. Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad. Well, the good news is we're headed to our next stop of the day, and that's Firestone Station right here at the front gate. From here you have full access to Working Farms, Main Street, Liberty Craft Works, and Henry's Model T. So if you're going to leave us here, please stay seated until the train comes to a complete stop. The engineer will give you a blast with the whistle, which means the air brake is set. And then I'll give you the go-ahead.
So this is his house before?
Yeah.
Oh, look at the
And you
shoes.
have a little skeleton around. Keep it warm. That was the heater.
It's nice. Oh yeah. This is the living room. Wow.
Nice fancy stove in the middle of the living room. Seems like you need an organ.
Look at the couch. It's really old.
Place to sit.
Wait.
Inside the parlor, they'll like look at pictures of Henry's son Edsel. Edsel was yes, that's the family that lived in the area. So they came to stay overnight, like help on the farm and stuff. They had a place to stay. What was it guess about like when you sleep at Grandma's house?
Can I see it?
These are Henry's upstairs, Mark's brother. And they were living there for 2 years.
No.
There's some of their
Nila kusina. Is that real, kuya? Stop. Yeah.
Is Daddy gonna ride?
Paved all the roads and the sidewalks.
Oh my God.
Moved some buildings around a little bit. You're riding in a 1926 Model T touring car. These cars were not called convertibles, they were called touring cars. Henry Ford started building Model Ts October of 1908. He would paint them all bright red, and he would charge $850 for that first car. And the reason being is because it was all hand-built, meaning at a stationary stand. They would carry the parts back to the assembly workstation and assemble the car. The dream to be get those geese mad and they'll come after you there. Yeah.
Like we did this at the right time.
The car came equipped with a 4-cylinder monoblock, one-piece casting for all 4 cylinders with a removable head, and that design is currently still being used today on most vehicles. It came with a 2-speed transmission operated by the left pedal here, pressing the pedal down all the way down to the floor, puts the car in first gear, releasing the pedal.
The South was still dependent on Spanish. Tenant farms, deeper in the depth, trying to build houses on the water and soil. The cost of fertilizer often left the farms
Want to sit here?
I was born in 1800 in a Pennsylvania community settled by the Scotch-Irish. My father, Alexander, was a restless man, an adventure veteran.
Yeah. Look at this tree. Yeah. Andre, here.
Yeah.